Hey, scholars. Feels like a real video guy. I'd be changing shirts between each one of these videos, but I'm not. So let's talk about location strategy and what that's all about. It'll be a fairly quick video, I hope. The location critically important. Again, why do we choose a different location? Same reason we do everything in operations management. Is it going to be more efficient? Is it going to cost less to do it in a new location? Can we get better quality in the new location? Can we be more responsive to our customers in the new location? So, I mean, you're always asking yourself questions, right? And those would be three of the great ones to ask. How can we do this thing better, faster, cheaper? And location will come into that. It's not the type of thing that operation managers decide on a daily basis. Typically, it's even if you're in a large expansion mode, it's you may never do it in your career. You may do it a couple of times in your career, maybe something that's what you do, and you do it a few times a year. But it's a critical part of being an operations manager, but usually higher up the food chain. So, what we want to do is we want to ask ourselves some questions as we're considering a new location. And page 341 of the text does a pretty good job of laying out, some what they call their key success factors. And first thing you got to do is decide, what country am I going to move this to? Am I going to move it out of the United States to someplace else? If you're going to do that, are there political risks associated with that? There may be political risk in moving something to Mexico or Indonesia or wherever you want to move it to. On two sides, you may have political risk because people in the United States say, I want American-built products, and you got political risk in places like Indonesia because you may have issues with the government over there. If you're willing to accept those risks, then you move on to the next question. So there's, it's a pretty good list of things to look at when you're trying to decide what country do I want to produce this in. Next one is you've got to narrow it down. Let's say we decide we want to move something back to the United States. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a regional view. So regionally, where do we want to move this to? Do we want to move it to the Midwest? Do we want to move it to the South, to the Southwest, to the West? What part of America do we want to move this to? And you pick a pretty broad swath. If you're going to pick our region, the southeastern part of the United States, you might say Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, South and North Carolina. You might put all of those in, and then you start your analysis by saying which one of those would be better. And you're going to ask yourself questions like, what's the labor availability and labor cost in those particular states? What are land and construction costs in those particular states, et cetera? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to then narrow it down. So, look at your business. Where's the right place to put that business? I gave you the example of Lee Benson over in Phoenix, and his business is he's working on aircraft. So where's the best place to put his business? At the airport. Pretty easy. So that's where his business is. He's got a nice hangar at the airport, and that's where he does most of his work. But others wouldn't be quite so easy. So if you're putting in a restaurant, where are you going to put it? You got to figure it out. We talked about clustering as a strategy, and clustering essentially is taking similar businesses and putting them next to similar businesses. Lowe's and Home Depot is an example. Restaurants. You often see restaurants that have kind of the same type of price range. You get restaurants from $15 to $30 entrees, and they're just all sitting right next to each other. Why is that? It's clustering. It's people kind of get used to coming to this area for that particular service. But when you're picking the particular location, you're going to look at railroad transportation if you may need that. You're going to look again at are there sites available? Or where are there sites available? You may want to go someplace, but may not be a place there for you, etc. So moving along, we look at our labor cost. How do we calculate labor cost? It's same way we always calculate productivity. It's the cost over the units. So what's the labor cost per day, and how many units are produced per day? It gives us that. We looked at, on page 347, doing an analysis to determine where we might want to put a plant if fixed cost and variable cost are going to fluctuate in the area. So maybe it's cost us more in fixed cost to build a plant in China because they don't have all of the infrastructure and the materials and the engineering expertise we need to build a plant. So it costs us a few more bucks to build a plant, but the labor is cheaper there. So you have more fixed cost. Your variable slope of your variable cost line is less of a slope. So your total cost, for that first unit is very expensive, but maybe for the 20,000th unit is less than putting that plant in the United States or Canada or wherever else you may want to put it. So we talked a lot about that type of analysis: fixed cost, variable cost, total cost, x-axis units, y-axis cost, or expenses, revenues, dollars, and you do the analysis, and you can figure out, doing math. We did the math in class. What the right way to decide is based on estimates of volume. That's about it for location strategy.